So the purpose of today's presentation here is we're wanting to redesign a website that's 15 years old, and we want to make it more modern, more engaging for the consumer. So the reason you should choose me is I'm going to go over a couple points on what exactly we should be looking for in the website to make sure that it is exactly how you guys want it to be. So the first key point we're going to talk about is the visual organization of the site. So you want to be able to first set the site up visually so that we can affect how the viewer sees it. So we are completely in control of that. So when we load that web page, the user is going to have a short amount of time to decide, are they going to continue viewing our site or are they not? So the first look is always important. Most viewers will make a decision on whether they will continue on the site by first glance. It's important to catch the eye of the viewer. So by making sure we pop at the beginning, maybe showing our facilities, maybe showing a happy wait or a nurse staff, getting somewhere to where the consumer feels that they want to continue reading on our site, that they are already engaged to the site at the beginning is very important. So then making sure all supplemental information for the site will be placed at appropriate times. So let's say at the top page, I'm talking about some kind of data like 95% of the people that visit our hospital for this disease get cured or anything of that nature. If I want to put that into, let's say, a chart or graph or any other supplemental imagery, I want to make sure that that goes with that. So not putting, just placing photos randomly on the site that will mess up or bring chaos kind of to the site is what we're looking for here. Using certain color schemes, formats, lines, or focal points are vital to the success of the site. So making sure the site looks clean. We got straight lines. We can use the color blue because that brings a calming effect. Um, Anything of that nature that we can get the site to feel more calm and bring a sense of happiness and calmness to the person looking at it, because obviously visiting a hospital is a very stressful time. Next is the visual simplicity. So we don't want to get too complex to where our um, imagery kind of doesn't reflect what the text is trying to say. So visuals are meant to aid in a way that appeals to the reader. Images should not be complex, as the goal of the site is to attract the reader to the hospital. So we don't want to bore them with the imagery. We don't want to bog down the imagery. We really don't want to mess with how the reader is taking it in, because once you start reading data point after data point after data point, and there's no real appeal to the reader, then we're just going to lose that person instantly. So by supplementing words with the use of simple imagery can lead to a better understanding for the viewer, as most people view with their eyes. They learn with their eyes as well. So being visual learners is very helpful. Next is visual interactivity. So the ability to interact with the site will engage readers. It almost creates like a connection between the reader and the website. So you can do that in a myriad of ways, such as logging in, taking surveys, anything that'll help them feel like their experience is different from just a normal person looking at the site. So when you feel that connection with the site, it almost makes the reader feel like he or she is not just another visitor. So it'll make them feel like their experience was 10 times different than maybe their friend's experience over there. So by including those kind of things, we're getting the viewer of the site to actually engage with the site, and then hopefully that'll lead to more choices with picking us for their treatment. Um, Also, it gives them more of a what they are looking for when they went to our site. Next is charts and graphs. So we got to make sure we're using these in the correct areas. I'm not going to use a chart and graph for the happiness that the staff gives, because that's just not necessary. So it's used to supplement data in a simplistic way. It needs to transform data in a visual way as easy for the readers to understand. Piggybacking on what I said earlier about when you're reading data point after data point after data point after data point, it gets boring. It gets you lulled to sleep. By using charts and graphs, we're able to put all of that stuff into one simplistic image, and then it still gets the point across that we want to get across, but it also um, gives the reader the information they're looking for without boring them to death. Um, Next is images. So I like to think of this as the judge a book by its cover model. you're immediately going to be drawn to something on the website. So if it is all just words, blah 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 blah, some people are definitely going to click on the site and they're going to read it, while some people are definitely going to click on the site and say, I'm not reading all that, and they're just going to leave. So we need to make sure that that front that we're putting out is exactly what we want. We want to draw the reader in so that they can read through. And then the images are used to portray the mood slash scheme of the site. So again, we want to make calming photos, simplistic photos, make it so the reader feels engaged to the site and not just there. So we could do this by using pictures of the facility, happy staff, and other positive notes like the amount of the treatment tools we have. We just want to appeal the user and bring them to the site. So I think all of those points that were made here are necessary for the new site. Whether you choose me or any of the other graphic designers, we need to make sure that this is the model that we're going with. That way the site can portray to the reader just how we want it to. Thank you guys for giving me the time.